You asked for it, we've delivered. Mighty Jamie is back to unpack all that's happening in South African politics, from breaking news just today to the Madlanga Commission and all that's happening around it. Stay tuned because we delve into everything. Fam, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Pace Car Rental. Use promo code SMWX and make sure you show Pace some love as they're showing this channel some love. Now, let's get into the episode. Mighty Jamie, brother, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, man.
A lot of people have been asking for us to do this more regularly since our blockbuster episode.
And you have some prophetic gifting. You know, we must call you pastor somewhere and set up a church, take you to Malawi. Maybe Brother Floyd will also order. But you know, because you said about the subscriptions, you're like, you're approaching 90, we'll be on 100 before the end of the month, you said.
Yeah.
And we crossed on the other channel 100. And
congrats, bro.
I think you got the energy going. You spoke to the universe. You did your thing there.
Yeah.
Huh?
No, the SMWX fam came through to add some additional support.
They did.
And the Hoshkari fam is also coming through on SMWX.
And that's what we need, cowhorn formation.
Exactly.
We need to have platforms which can have analysis-driven content, analysis and empirical, research-driven commentary, as opposed to just freestyling. And unfortunately, the media seems to be dragging their feet at times, and at other times, they seem to be mailing in their homework and not doing the hard miles. And I think maybe it's because of the academic background, you know, all the research papers we've had to write, all the things we've had to defend academically that have made us actually approach this medium with a certain amount of seriousness. But I also think it's because we respect the audience. I think that as a guiding principle, you respect the content, respect the audience, that gives another quality of content. So it's great that all of the platforms are growing. I'm hoping for a day when you're over 1 million.
That's the plan, brother. That's the plan.
Let's get there, man.
Let's keep liking, sharing, and subscribing to all the platforms, everyone. Bro, we're in a bit of a somber mood because some very just distressing, surprising, and worrying news just broke just before we came on.
Yeah.
Which is that former minister and ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, was found dead. I mean, this is a sensitive time because obviously, I'm sure his family's reeling from this, and personally for them it must be very difficult. But of course it comes in the context of the events of the Madlanga Commission, where his name was mentioned by Mkhwanazi just a few weeks ago. So, and he was called to Parliament as well, or at least I think the EFF said they wanted him to be at Parliament. So how do you react to that? Because things are getting, like even Netflix is going to write to South Africa at some point and be like, can you slow down?
Yeah. So firstly, I think this is quite sobering in that it shows that the impact of what is happening now is not minuscule. Part of the discussion around commissions has been that nothing comes out of them. But this one is different in design, in the narrowness of its focus, and in the type of content that's unfolding. But also it's different because the dockets are in KZN. The GCI ops are operating as we speak. So what that means is that there are criminal consequences around the corner for a lot of people. And prison is atrocious. I think, is it David Mashabela? He does a lot of content where he sometimes interviews ex-convicts, and the stories that they tell about their times in prison, what they went through, makes it such that if you have lived a sheltered life, a privileged life, you may not want to spend your last days in any space like that. And I'm not saying that there was any, prospect of that in Nathi's future. But what I'm saying, though, is that there may be conditions that may have driven such a decision at such a time. So it's quite sobering. And I think what it also shows us all is that this story is the story of the year.
Absolutely.
The story of 2025 is all of the stuff that is unfolding as a result of that 6th July press conference. Before this recording, before we got this news, I was already convinced of that. Now I'm even more convinced of that. Because however this happened, if this was self-inflicted or other-inflicted, in both instances, it indicates that this story is explosive and it has roots that go so far back that not only the former or acting leave police minister, the previous police minister, but police ministers a few steps far removed can also be thinking, this is going to touch me. And perhaps it does touch them. I'm hoping that it's not a fall guy. I'm hoping it's not that kind of a situation where there's some hope that if there is now this incident, everything can be rushed on and we can move on. Because I don't think that that is fair to what's happening now and to the victims. Part of why I was never inclined to over-examine Mkhwanazi or Khumalo from the get-go is because of something we mentioned last time. There's a disparity in the role these different people are playing. One side is associated with people who have shot whistleblowers 23 times outside of their workplaces, shot other people 9 times outside of their homes. So whoever seems to be in that nexus, to me, I cannot give them too much benefit of the doubt. I can play devil's advocate and hear them out.
Sure.
But at the same time, I need to remember Babita was shot because of people who have been named implicated facing trial and where there seems to be a plethora of evidence implicating them. Aman Swat, he was an innocent man, mistaken identity. They shot him 23 times. Then you look at the DJ somebodies. All of these gunshots, these bullets that have been sprayed across South Africa, and these are the ones we know.
Yeah.
There's so many people dying as a result of gang-related deaths. So many people dying as a result of the drugs being taken directly and the addictions affecting their behaviors in homes. Women are being beat, women are being raped, children are being assaulted, people are being killed all over drugs. The money and the ecosystem of drugs in a country with high levels of poverty exacerbates even what you sometimes see in America and other places. So I've never been inclined to be too generous or charitable to the side that seems to be in proximity with Vusi Matlala, Katiso Molefe, and all of the shenanigans that have been around. And when you think about the extent of the victims, and then you think about the extent of the money stolen, it's only fair that this process is thoroughly taken to its completion. Whatever bandages need to be ripped off, I think it's necessary. If there's surgery now that is necessary in policing, in the procurement system, wherever it's necessary, it's this news, I think, shows us this is even more serious than we anticipated.
Yeah.
When I walked in, you told me the story, I was shocked. How did you respond? You saw it. You told me. I haven't even read a newspaper on this. You told me.
I was equally shocked. I mean, the news started leaking out as we were, monitoring things and preparing for this. And initially it was just denial, like, no, it's some obscure French publication, and then slowly another French publication, then South African journalists. I think what you said really stands out to me, which is this could be even more serious than we realize. And we already know how serious it is. And the other thing is that it happens against the backdrop and a context of extremely explosive testimony at the commission this week.
Yeah.
Where, again, the seriousness of this has been underscored. When Mkhwanazi was testifying, there was this narrative that, it's untested. It's all about a grudge.
Yeah.
We can't really believe it. We can't not.
It's just factions.
It's factions. It's
so-and-so's contract is expiring, and this is about contracts, and this is just factional, and this is about the budget.
Exactly. And I think we were vindicated in saying, you can't be asking for the evidence on day one of a commission. No one came to Zondo and on day one of Zondo was like, there's no evidence of state capture. It's just factions.
Yeah.
what was clear, even from the minute Mkhwanazi gave his press conference, let alone his testimony, is that there was at least serious suspicion that we needed to follow. And with Khumalo, I feel like we've reached a turning point, because I'm not sure anyone is still asking for the evidence now.
No, the fishes of evidence are quiet now. And in fact, I've been looking. I was like, are you guys typing the articles? Are you trying to find a new angle? Because on day one, or that first weekend, you were fishes of evidence. Where's the evidence? There's no evidence in the sea. Now, General Dumisani has come with the boat. He has taken you to an ocean of evidence. And what's also curious to me is that there's no positive analysis of the evidence. It's almost as if there's a wish to get over this, to get past it, when the implications of everything that has been revealed is so explosive. So first, the revelation about the Big Five, the messages that we're seeing now, just to pick one small slice, and maybe you'll tell me what you picked up just in terms of what we saw today, the actual proof that came out. But at some point, there's a discussion about, no, we need you to pay for delegates. We need to get these votes. We need to do this and this. And we need 12.5. We need another 12.5 because we got two particular branches that need to be attended to. That took me back to the 2017 conversation, because it was a very narrow victory between Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma and Ramahposa. And there was that whole conversation about the role of money. And then at some point, an activist in the ANC, an elder guy, Omri, I can't remember his surname right now, he did an interview on Newsroom Africa saying, no, they buy delegates. Some of them is as cheap as 20,000. Some of them is 50,000. Some of them you have to promise them a tender and all of that. And I was just thinking, this proof of delegate buying, the financial transacting around Brown Mogotsi specifically is something that goes back to CR17, because the journalists, journalists, media as a whole, they're in a funny position now, because I think in the whole process of manufacturing consent, some of them became soft on their ethical standards. Why am I saying this, and where am I going with this? The journalists at some point, when we started asking, who is this Brown Mogotsi? People started saying, I know this guy. I've got him on my phone as Brown Mogotsi CR17. But none of them wanted to discuss further. What exactly were you talking about with this guy? What was the length and breadth of your conversation? So as he is trying to make arrangements for finances, saying we will lose votes for this particular event, it goes back and say, how much were you involved in the first process and maybe even the second process? And if money is flowing around and some of it is coming from drug dealers, horse curry fathers such as Vusi Matlala, because we know the proceeds of his money. Some of it is coming now from kidnapping. We know that. Some of it is coming from drugs. Some of it is coming from assassinations. If that's the money which is being now used to help delegates win votes one way or another, does that mean that the CR17 win was a blood money win? You see why it's important to unseal the records and to have an understanding. And the media has been always hesitant to have a robust conversation about why it's important, even for an internal political election, to know when that person is likely to become president, who actually is funding this guy. The good thing about the DA is we know it's the Capitec founder. We know it's Michel Leroux. He renames his donor entities, Fine Boss this and Fine Boss that, but it's well known that it's him. Sure. We know his interests, we know his politics, right? A lot of the donors, whether it's Betway, founder, Moshal, etc., we can say this guy is giving DA money because his gambling entity is registered in Cape Town. They're under that board, etc., Western Cape Gambling Board, whatever it's called. We can then see the interest, we can then understand, and then see if there are conflicts. When now you have entities such as Vusi Matlala giving money to Brown Mogotsi, somebody who is now known and acknowledged by the same journalists to have been involved in presidential campaigns within the ANC, that for me, I'm like, this is explosive even for the whole 8 years, because is Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, for instance, looking at this thinking, but I was robbed?
Well, a number of things I want to pick up on what you said, because I think you've made an important point, and the question of South Africa's media is just right at the background of all of this.
Yeah.
Right? One thing I do want to say, just to caveat this, is on the one hand, I think we do also have to acknowledge that there's some brilliant investigative reporting going
Yes.
on, right? Like Jeff Wicks is doing good work, fantastic work, brave work, and a lot of even what we analyze can often be based on some of the excellent.
Let me just say something. I want to just quickly.
Cool.
I actually think this is my theory. I think Jeff Wicks and them did not know where this would take them when they began. You know, like I've seen there's a lot of enthusiasm for certain investigations, you know, when they're looking at Paul Mashatile and whatever, unmasked, very enthusiastic. It's always clear where it's starting, where it's going. With this one, did they know that Nathi Mthethwa would be in a situation that he's in today? So all I'm trying to say is you're right. And part of the skeptic in me is like, yes, but you know, this one, because why am I saying that is because have you noticed that some of the reporting is kind of like toned down?
Well, that's what I was going to come to. So let me just develop this point. So Jeff Wicks, but even like when I look at how I analyze, like there's a lot of love for our analysis videos, right? But when I really look at it, I'm also basing a lot of what I'm saying on reportage, right? I don't know this stuff via my own knowledge.
We don't know these people. We didn't speak to any of the generals.
Exactly.
Please, Spear, we don't know them.
Exactly.
We don't know these guys.
So on the one hand, media can provide a service for which we can then become complacent. And we're lucky to have a lot of the journalism which is helping provide the factual basis on which we can analyze.
Yes.
So that, I think, needs to be acknowledged.
Yes.
But now, then there's another narrative which is like journalists are all heroes and just like hero worship journalists because they're these special democratic.
Except if they are from the IOL, because remember when they actually got in a hold of certain information and they were going through a whole process, they went to court and won the case, didn't they?
Yeah.
And still, the entities that are supposed to represent journalists didn't say anything in their favor.
Exactly. And then Mkhwanazi, who does exactly the same thing, is a brave whistleblower. Then there's also a certain skepticism over him. I think we can
Hold on. Can I say this? You're right. But there's something that hasn't happened here. It's still boggling my mind. In all of this investigative journalism, how come people don't have a picture or a video of Hangwani Mogan Maumel?
That's exactly what I was going to come to, right? So on the one hand, there's excellent reporting going on. But on the other hand, those of us who are analysts also have a duty to take a step back and then ask about the priorities of agenda setting in journalism, the priorities of how stories are framed, the priorities of what is left in and what is left out, the priorities of what reaches the front page and what's on the back page. And there, I do believe there's a very strong case to be made that Cyril Ramaphosa's faction of the ANC captured large segments of private media in South Africa. And maybe they were captured willfully, or maybe they were captured because they were naive. But what it did is it created this massive accountability vacuum.
I think also
Africa.
Because during the Zuma years, a lot of them rightfully felt they were part of the good side.
Yeah.
The side that was removing the state capture group. And obviously there are many fair criticisms of the Zuma era. And they were all like, we are in this together, fighting for democracy. I remember when I went to the Daily Maverick, The Gathering, just after President Ramaphosa came in, Zapiro had a cartoon where he had depicted Cyril Ramaphosa as the Black Panther. That was just after the Black Panther came out.
Yeah.
I was like, the Black Panther? And then he had him in the red and white socks.
Those days were so crazy.
And he's cutting through this thorn bush. I was like, and I stood up and I asked them at the conference. I didn't go after that because I was disillusioned at that conference because there was a lot of smugness as well. It's like, we are in now. We are the good guys. But the question I asked him, I was like, how can you know so soon that he is the Black Panther? How can you put such an honorific stature on him as to call him T'Challa? T'Challa. At this point.
Still early. We didn't need evidence back then. Right?
We didn't even, but those early days, they put the seeds in motion for what's happening today.
There should be a documentary about the narrative backing Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa's media. It was the biggest propaganda campaign I think I have ever seen. Like, you could not move in newspapers and TV shows. Like there was just this constant stream that this is the savior of South Africa. The
Yeah.
new dawn is here. And anything he said would be broadcast across all these platforms. And look where that got us. And I think I'm not going to say the media because there were some notable voices that pushed back. But we do have to have a reckoning with some of the voices in South African media that sold us this lie, that created this situation in which NGOs stood back, media stood back, and the likes of Kat Matlala were like, hey,
Christmas.
if we put our eggs in this Ramahposa basket, no one's going to scrutinize us. And now it's 5 years later and we see the problems of christening heroes and angelic factions of the ANC. And part of that is what South African media brought us.
Yeah, Esatu Hasane said something on Twitter today, and I don't want to put him on the spot or whatever, but he said he's happy that the narrative of sinners and angels is over.
Yeah.
So now we all know we're all in the movie Sinners and we shouldn't open the door.
Absolutely.
Just don't open the door, invite people in. Always ask them, who are you?
Yeah.
Who sent you?
Exactly.
Why are you doing these things that you're doing?
So 'cause imagine that spirit of accountability that's reserved for Paul Mashatile, Jacob Zuma, Julius Malema. Rightly so, because they're important figures, right? Hold them accountable. But imagine that same spirit was brought
consistent
in 2018 on Cyril Ramaphosa. We wouldn't be here right now because you wouldn't be able to get away with this amount of...
And the fourth estate would have worked, right? Because now you push back. You actually ask about the funders. You expose the funders. With Zuma, everything would leak.
Yeah.
With President Ramaphosa, nothing leaks.
Some
Even when
things
they
were
have...
sealed.
Yeah. They get sealed. But I mean, even if Zuma had sealed something...
Yeah.
And judges had said it's sealed, it would have shown up in the media. Sure. It would have been, Cape Town files or whatever. Look at what happened with the Gupta leaks.
Yeah.
They knew that some of those, communications were not obtained in an admissible way that you can present in court. But the cause was deemed so important that we are going to go be over and above.
Yeah.
But now you've got people like Hangwani Morgan Maumela, who is now being conceded to. And I'm going to ask you about this SIU thing. I don't know if it's the right pivot yet. But you got someone like Hangwani, who we've been speaking about, who we've been profiling, saying there are links to this man, to Benjani Chauke, there are links to President Ramaphosa.
Yeah.
Why has the media been so hesitant when you were enthusiastic to tell us about Babaga Tutuzane, you were enthusiastic to tell us about Edward Zuma, Khulubuse Zuma? We got to know the whole Zuma family.
Yeah.
Even the Zuma family members who were making films or whatever, they say, no, but how dare the KZN contributed to this movie or series? Why is the KZN department contribute? You're like, but it's a tourist promoting movie. It's a rational reason to give this girl money to make this series. Why is there a big issue about this? Like, no, but it's a Zuma. We must ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Remember when the other Zuma girl got that job? She got that chief of staff or whatever it was. The media was there. Tutugile, they were there like this.
Absolutely.
We did not see that same level of scrutiny when there's somebody who...
Edward Zuma. Remember Edward Zuma?
Yeah, Edward, they were on him. Now think about the implications. 2 billion taken from one hospital that we know of. But the reality is, the way this cartel is operating, the hoshkari behavior is such that they are everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're only in one sector. I think they're everywhere. Wherever there are tenders to be obtained, these guys are probably waking up, going to whatever places they hang out, and going maybe to these nightclubs and reading through all of these calls for tender and saying this one, this one, send your boy, etc., etc. So I find it almost unbelievable that the media would have missed all of that for all of this time and dragged their feet. Why did it have to take the SIU to then say some things for some voices to feel, okay, now I'm comfortable to say this? Now it's almost like they've been given permission. Now you have permission because SIU just spoke about it. But you've been sitting on this.
Yeah. No, agreed. And like I say, I think we need to differentiate. Like I see a lot of journalists, Pule Letriti Jones.
Yeah. Oh, he was good. I saw him. I saw him with is it the what's his name? I call him Shady Mkwanasi.
Yeah,
he was on him.
Exactly. Like I said, Jeff Wicks has been reporting about, and Jeff Wicks can stand up and say, "Oh, now you guys are interested." Like I've been reporting about this for 3 or 4 years.
I read his stuff. Yeah. I've been profiling his stuff. You had him on the platform.
Yeah.
You had Karen Doley.
Yeah.
I told people, go read page 161. Go do this. Jeff Wicks was one of the first people who brought Vusi Matlala to my attention because I was like, wait a minute, what? And I was like, what's going on here? But like I said, a lot of the content was behind paywalls. And I was like, what is this paywall issue?
Sure.
And it was so interesting that Khwanazi then mentioned the same paywall issue, and then the judge mentioned the paywall issue. And then people were like, that's what you guys are also talking about.
Exactly.
So the paywall is a big problem.
No, it is. And it's funny. It's funny, like, we've gone so deep into the media aspect of this. But I saw Adrian Basson, the editor of News 24, just published an editorial. And it really irritated me because he's got this whole thing about how News 24 and what they've uncovered, and again, kudos to them for what they've uncovered.
And look, some of it they just got it from Khwanazi. I think some of the details Jeff Wicks had were rather everything that's being revealed now. Like, Khwanazi gave you some of this stuff.
I don't know, man. Like I said,
that's my theory.
I currently
that's where they got it. They didn't get it from us. They got it from Jeff Wicks, News 24.
Look, I don't know who his sources are, but for now, I'm standing Jeff Wicks. I'm not going to lie.
No, I stand him. He put it together. He told the public. Sure.
But be that as it may. So Basson, So Basson writes this article, I think it's today or yesterday, like, this shows you what real journalism looks like. Because podcasters and influencers are taking all this space, but journalism is fact-based and all of that. And I'm like, why are you trying to take shots at the digital media landscape? He doesn't mention names. I don't know who he's talking about. That's
horse curry behavior right there. That is horse curry behavior, because...
But then don't criticize people for painting the media with broad brushstrokes and then just say podcasters and influencers.
Where's your nuance?
Yeah, who are you talking about? Which podcasters? And we also are now responsible, particularly our platforms, for pointing people to media.
Yes.
So in some ways, there's a synergistic relationship between reportage and digital analysis.
Yeah.
And I get this feeling like there's this journalistic gatekeeping where people feel like, oh, podcasters are not real journalists. We do the real work. And it's like, we're not trying to be you.
And you know what? For me, I'm like, people need to get out of here with that stuff. Man. I'm going to say this, I'm going to speak on behalf of SMWX. Here you got a guy who wrote 2 books.
Bro.
2 books.
Don't tell me about rigor and analysis.
So first you got Democracy and Delusion. Then you got The New Apartheid, right? You got a guy who went all the way to Oxford, right? Got a PhD. And you know, you're a humble guy. You don't flex this like some guy who wanted his what did they say, his flight ticket to say Dr. so and so, and then he spent 1.8 or so, whatever millions.
If the ticket doesn't say doctor, I
can't fly. I can't go to Dubai no more unless it says doctor. Show me some respect. But people don't appreciate that is one of the best and oldest institutions.
Sure.
You went through the rigmarole to get that paperwork. That paperwork is not just given to you because you paid school fees.
Sure.
It's earned.
Yeah.
You have to submit and revise and show a thorough process through all of that. So now, not only have you done those things, right? So you got the PhD, now you got an LLB, right?
Sure.
And you then choose to use part of your life, because you're lecturing, you're doing all of this other stuff. You say, I'm going to create a digital platform to break it down to the public, to discuss these issues openly, to reflect, think through these things publicly. What a blessing. Which other country can say they've got a PhD from Oxford University making YouTube videos on current affairs to make them accessible to the public? Why would you hate on that?
Man, like, I don't know, but journalists don't seem to like what we do. I'm like, bro, and
it is because of the gatekeeping. There's this whole thing of we're inside, we're the ones who go to the White House, we're the ones who do this and this, and then we're in and these other. But you know what? The streets respect work. The streets respect effort. If you guys are skipping all of the topics, who stopped News 24 from doing a podcast? Who stopped them from going onto YouTube? Right? Who stopped them from doing the due diligence? Who stopped them from putting in the effort and doing the hard miles? It's not like you started YouTubing in 2024. You know, you've been at this. So it's not like you were not on their radar. These people chose that they didn't want to get onto these platforms, and now they're playing catch up. Now all of the old media is trying to be on YouTube. But YouTube is free to post videos on. So what was stopping them this whole time?
Exactly.
We need to move on. Pick something that you like from today.
So let's go to because we've interestingly covered the media dimension of this, which is fascinating, and I'm going to go on to something else, but I think that's why people also are coming to us, because nobody gets to speak about how they feel about mainstream media in South
Yeah,
Africa, and
true.
we're creating that space. Khumalo, let's get onto his actual testimony, because I mean, you know what struck me?
Yeah.
When he was just talking about the way this cartel works
Yeah.
yesterday. That was scary, bro, because he was like systematically taking us through. First, you have to build the structure, how the structure relates. Then he was talking about there's hijacking, and you get money from hijacking.
Yeah.
Then there's drugs. Then there's cash in transit heists.
Yeah.
And all these little things that we know happen in our society, you suddenly realized like there's huge coordination behind
Exactly.
all of this. And then, of course, that whole system has penetrated politics in a way that, like I've said, I think we said it before, like the Guptas were we can say whatever we like about that. That was a business enterprise.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't a criminal enterprise. The corruption was criminal, but it was mines and newspapers and whatever. This is just like drug enterprises penetrating politics.
Exactly.
And that for me was one of the more terrifying moments.
And it's just, it's narcos Mzansi, really, is what it is. And if you think about, people are using MBAs, CFAs, all of these qualifications to run this sophisticated enterprise just of criminality. This is why Hoshkari behavior is an encompassing label for it. Because think about what we're being told here, right? We're being told that somebody sits down somewhere, uses their brilliant mind to say, how can I lawfully get guns to kill people? I have to set up a security company, right? And then how can I lawfully do this other thing?
Yeah.
And then how now can I lawfully get these dockets to disappear, these cases to be withdrawn?
Yeah.
And how do I have to work with different levels of police? How can we influence magistrates? How can we actually get these bid evaluation committees to get us these particular things, right? The irony in all of this is that in as much as they were so sophisticated, they were brought down by horny men. Horny men. That's where the Hoshkari Mamas fit in. And I'm telling you, if we took the Hoshkari Mamas into a conference, offered them all, what are they, Section 204, whatever, with accomplice plea deals, we would bust this whole thing down. Not only this cartel, but the other cartel. Isn't that ironic? It's almost like, if you think about Casino, I don't know if you've watched Casino or some of these other gangster movies. It's always the chinchilla coat. And it's always the woman who gets them to get the chinchilla coat that collapses the whole thing. Why buy the chinchilla coat? Anyway, the composition of this, you're right, it was alarming, right? The big five. And to see, because once you start to see Katiso Molefe's shenanigans, and I spoke about it in my other, in the podcast there on the dissection, about his Valcom attempt to get the tender for the airport. And then we saw the Transnet one where he was willing to kill, and his son has absconded and all of that. And Katiso Molefe seems to me still like he's a small guy in this whole equation. You know, we're talking about big five, but he's not the buffalo in all of this. He's not the elephant in all of this.
I didn't realize, because I honestly thought Kat Matlala and Molefe were high up in the structure, or the peak of the structure.
They seem to me like they were getting tips.
Yeah.
To be honest,
who's at the top? You know, there's that, because they showed the structure.
Yeah,
of the big
yeah.
five. Who's that person at the top?
Hey, who knows, man? Who knows who this big five is? I don't also know whether these guys, you know, Tumisani Khumalo, he looks like a chess player. You know those specs of his that he's wearing? Those are not even like fashion specs. Those are like function. I need to read. I need to look, and I need to assess
Analyze
the risk. I need to get a 5-pillar approach, and I need to get an analysis-led methodology of investigation.
Those are those accountant classes. Bro.
I'm like, man, this is the worst guy they could have gave this job to. They were not paying attention, Boma 2018.
Yeah.
Like, why promote this dude, right? So what I'm trying to put across is that in the naming, I'm like, man, did you call this the Big Five because we're in Africa? Did you call this the Big Five because people have nicknames which are Big Five-ish? Why Big Five? You know what I mean? And can I just make one comment about Tumsani Khumalo? There's something about him which is giving pure Zulu man. The one thing was, at some point, he was speaking English the whole time.
Yeah.
Then the one time he's like, Uguti. I'm like, there you go. There you go. There you go. But then the other thing is like, I'm like, this dude, it's like there's a rule, you know, like, what's the name of that singer who had the song saying, Inga Karaili Pai? Ebu Nandini, that guy. Inga Karaili Pai. Who's the guy who said, Ebu Nandini la untola kona? that's I can't remember now. They'll tell us in the comments. So he had one of these statements where you'd say ingakara idli pie. Then I'm feeling like in Dumisani's world, right? General Dumisani Khumalo, Babu Khumalo, right? All due respect, there's a rule that in general, I sebenzisi emoji. Because the man is like,
did you see that?
No,
one does not use these emojis.
This one is, it looks like a fruit.
Did you see the one? You know the emoji with the bicep? He's like, I think he was saying, you must be strong.
You must be strong. You must be strong. Strength, power.
There are 5 emojis of the big 5.
That to me, I'm like, man, you're going to have to get an emoji expert here. General Kwanazi, on the other hand, so he slipped something there. I was like, well, now you're a cool guy. You the cool kid in this whole thing. Because he was like, my bad.
I
was like, my bad?
Hey.
It's like, you're bad, General Kwanazi.
Now.
You're saying I'm a Zulu man. But you're like, my bad? I'm like, it's giving somebody who watches podcast and chill. It's giving somebody who's like listening to King Vaughn on the side. I was like, okay, my bad. I was like, okay, cool kid, we see you.
No,
we see you.
We see you.
So anyway, that was just like a light moment, but this stuff is quite.
No, it is, bro. It is. I mean, the other thing that I think we can touch on, and maybe leave the commission there for now, is these WhatsApp messages. And today at the commission, we've heard about these conversations between Mogotsi and Matlala. And the reason this matters is, of course, because we know that Mogotsi was also in conversation with Senzo Mchunu.
Yes.
But today's WhatsApp messages give us unique insight, maybe for the first time. You know, I feel like this commission has delivered more in like 8 days than the Zondo commission delivered in 4 years.
This is why I was saying the pace and the design are quite different.
And maybe I actually have to take an L here and say, because I was like, this commission.
So was I.
And it's going to be boring and like we're not going to get anything. I must say, I'm pleasantly surprised. Like this thing is unearthing a lot already.
But I think these guys also sees when they were going to use whatever platform they were given.
Yeah, fair.
Commission, ad hoc committee, TV show, they
Press
were
conference.
ready. They were ready.
Yeah.
The 6th July,
That's true.
for me, was not an accident.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
they tried 5 March. They're like, let's go to Parliament. Let's tell South Africa in the right forum.
Yeah.
And they were blue ticked. I know that the people
They
in
were.
the police committee have said that, no, we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the reality is there was no motion.
Sure.
There wasn't even co-motion.
Absolutely.
Right? Then you get July 6th.
Yeah.
So then that happens. That's explosive. Paul O'Sullivan, why is he wearing those clothes? What does he mean to do with that? Blah, 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 blah. We saw that moment, right? Then you get to this. These guys were ready.
Nah, they came ready. I'm not going to
Yesterday, when Khumalo came in, you know, Madlanga is asking you, there's all of these files. Should I put some of the files? You know, like how many? I was like, how many files does this guy have?
Yeah.
And then he starts, man, he's going through it. I'm like, oh no, they're bringing it. I was a bit apprehensive because I was like, I don't know if General Khumalo is going to drop the ball. Because Kwanazi came in and he was like a wrecking ball. He came in, Miley Cyrus.
Some of this. Yeah.
He's like, Khumalo. And everyone is like, no, Khumalo is coming. You know, Khumalo is coming. Khumalo is. I'm like, this guy better come.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta. But he came through. Sure. And the content is explosive.
Yeah.
The demeanor is so calm.
It's so calm.
Sorry, Commissioner. Sorry, Commissioner. Sorry. Here's fire.
And message, like when he gets into these WhatsApp messages, like Mogotsi talking to Matlala, talking about iPad. We need to figure out what's going on with iPad now. Talking about facilitating money for ANC conferences. So now, the party has entered the chat.
Yeah.
The ANC has entered the WhatsApp group because this money didn't just go to Senzo Mchunu to facilitate some delegates. It went to ANC delegates to attend functions, to the Progressive Business Forum, the satellite organization. By the way, audit everyone who has ever been in a Progressive Business Forum.
There's a lot of explaining they have to do.
Yeah. So these WhatsApp conversations between Matlala and Mogotsi, and bear in mind, this is only one of 5 chats that we're going to go through, have revealed that there is clearly direct conversation between Mogotsi, this intermediary, Matlala, an alleged member of the Big Five, and they are trying to put pressure on the police system and on the ANC and the minister.
They were. And working within the police. Yeah. And the whole system that has been exposed even now, it's quite worrying because the other thing that was to me, Justice Madlanga didn't want to jump to conclusions or speculate. But to me, I was like, it's as clear as day. Give me the mic. I'll speculate. I'll say what it is. At some point, Matlala wanted to get the GCI ops guys arrested or charged for assault. But his Hoshkari Mama said, you ain't going to assault me. I ain't getting you that paperwork. I can't remember the name of the form, the J something form, right? Because he's like, no, my wife doesn't want, she's not enthusiastic. So, and the guys are on holiday. I'm like, what were you guys trying to do here? You were trying to set these guys up so you can say when they came to your premises on the 6th, when they came to your premises on the 18th and the 19th, they were assaulting you. And now here's the J88 or J8 form to prove that.
Awesome.
So now think about the Hoshkari Mama. Now you're saying we have to prove assault. And once, I don't know if they still do it, and there are many things the police themselves have to explain. Once, when I was living in the Newtown area, there was a scuffle in the building and people had to go to the police station. And there was a sign at the door, just on the inside, saying, we don't open cases for common assault. Then they may have reversed that position and all of that. But at the time, I was like, what do you mean? Because it could get worse and whatever. So if you are going to open an assault case, you can't have a common assault. You have to get a medical report. So you have to get properly bruised, properly blixemed. So I think he's trying to explain to his Hoshkari Mama, and you've seen her, man. She's stunning. She's all the Turkish delights. All the surgeons have put the best work in there, right? She looks proper. Even when she's there looking guilty, you're like, hey, Matlala, who's this guilty? Can we give her a plea deal or something? Can we see what we can do with this, my sister? Yeah, she didn't know what she was doing. That's how beautiful she is. You want to forgive her, man. But, right, she was in it. So now you go to that person and you say, hey, we need a J8 something. We need to blix you to the point where we're going to have to send you back to Turkey for some touch-ups after this. She's like, no, you're not going to beat me, not me. Yeah. You know how much work I've done on this body? I'm not coming to that party. I opened these companies for you. I've done all of this stuff for you. I'm getting you these tenders. I'm filling in the paperwork. I'm the one who's on the name for, what's this thing called, Cat VIP Security, because she was one of the directors that was listed. So point I'm making is, as that was being discussed, I was like, man, this guy has a contacted iPad. He's conversing with Mogotsi about getting the assault thing to be done. The only thing that is saving the situation to a degree is the fact that the wife didn't want to cooperate. Because these GCI ops guys could be in jail right now, right? And we could not know some of this stuff. So that was one of the interesting revelations. The other one was the conversation around the 31st that was happening towards lunch.
Yeah.
Because now he's paid the 25%, the 36,000. Was it 36 or 37,000?
This is for delegates to the January 8th ANC.
Yeah, so he's paid the 36. Now, Brown Mogotsi is there like harassing him, right? Because he's getting pressure. The minister or the chief of staff or whatever, they don't want to speculate. That chief of staff is the police minister's chief of staff based on the body of information we've been given. Now, this guy is like, talk to these guys. So it looks like the minister doesn't go collect money for himself. This is what we're seeing. Yeah. The chief of staff also doesn't get involved in the financials. Brown Mogotsi looks like he's the collector. So he's the one who's going to be on your back. No, brother, we're going to move to other clients now if you don't clear this money. No, brother, look at this. I'm like, how many clients do you have? You know, the other guy who was saying he's a super consultant. He'll have a lot of explaining to do. Malcolm X, Chakalaka version, right? He's going to have a lot of explaining to do. But think about what happens then. Now, Matlala is not paying. Then these guys have to move now because Matlala is not paying. Matlala is not moving on this thing. Obviously, he wants us to deal with his issue. So disband the test team. Then they disband the test team on the 31st. The test team that you were worrying about that was harassing you has been disbanded. Now money is flowing. Now it's, here's another thing. Here's another invoice. Oh, in Cape Town, you could meet this guy. Sibia's around, so-and-so, and so-and-so. I'm like, so this guy knows you most. He knows that he mustn't pay full amount before he gets his otherwise not going to get help. I was like, but the fact that he's been dealing with the people so long, that he knows that, no, don't pay upfront. Don't pay the full amount until you get what you need. Then you can start talking again. And the whole process, I'm like, these guys are just taking pennies, man. 100 and something thousand to disband the test team. I mean, because that was the transaction that seems to have, unleashed. So we're just doing this for January 8th.
Has the
just for January 8th.
Has the ANC become that cheap? It used to be millions and tens of millions. Now it's 100K?
this is what was worrying me. I was like, this guy's getting millions, but also it was showing me that, these tender guys are under a lot of cash flow pressure. This is why they're all still doing CITs and all of this. Because now, every time people are coming to you, anybody who you've done a deal with, you have to take care of this thing, someone's school fees, this other thing, this other thing, this other thing.
Delegates, conferences.
And you trying to also be a boss. You got these big security company offices. You're doing VIP stuff.
Yeah.
You bought all of these guns, all of these vehicles. How are you managing this cash flow? And then it shows you why, as much as they are burning through that money, buying all these Lamborghini Urus and all of this stuff, at the same time, they're getting a lot of people in the WhatsApp messages. I mean, imagine if we could get hold of all of these intermediary cell phones.
Bro,
give them to Khumalo.
To dissect the emojis.
Yeah, you win.
No, it's really, it's concerning stuff, brother. I mean, he's still got to go through a number of different conversations. He's going to go through conversations with the Ekurhuleni police chief, with the
there's
Hawks.
5 of them that they're going to be shared to the public, right?
KZN Hawks head.
Yeah.
Sinona,
General Sinona and Tato Sinona.
Exactly. And then this bussman,
Calvin Rafadi.
Karim and Calvin Rafadi.
Yes.
So we'll see what comes out of that. That's something to look forward to. Bro, any word on the Julius Malema judgment?
Still going on.
Firstly,
but wait, before we go on,
Yeah.
I think, the argument or the narrative has been that we have to wait till the commission ends before the president acts.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm not convinced anymore that is...
Already, you're going to have to bring out some pyrotechnics to dislodge some of this evidence. Are these WhatsApp conversations fake? Are these transactions wrong? The
metadata has been analyzed at this point.
If there's exculpatory evidence for all the CCTV
what could
footage,
exculpate at this point?
Then that's going to be nearly miraculous. I agree with you. What does it take to get ANC ministers fired, bro?
For me, even at the end of today,
bro,
I would have taken actions.
Like you have to, and
because I mean it's clear as day. Because at the beginning I'm like, I need evidence, whatever. It's clear as day. I would dismiss him. I think the public relations thing that they're trying to do, and which is what I think happened yesterday. This SIU, I'm not saying it was wrong.
Sure.
Everything that was revealed by the SIU was important to expose. It was important to see the extent of Hangwani's, extraction from one hospital. Yeah. It's important for the media to start asking conversations about, is he the middleman or is he the top guy? And to really give it the due diligence you gave Jacob Zuma. So that's another chat, right? It was important to see that about 10% of the money he got ended up going to bribes within the healthcare system itself. It's important for us to have conversations about, is SIU enough? For accountability, because they seize assets with Edwin Sodi. What I was told is that he went and bought them back on auction. So like he didn't really lose anything. And we saw at his 50th birthday party, he's still balling, he's still stealing people's wives and girlfriends and whatever the case may be. So nothing has realistically changed in his life. He's owning nightclubs. We're told that they're sites of money laundering. So if you actually concerned about stopping the behavior, nothing has changed, right? So I mean, there's enough there that was of value for us to see. But the timing, and yesterday the media was so focused on talking about SIU, and General Khumalo is presenting explosive information about the Big Five. That to me felt like manufacturing consent. It really felt like they're trying to change the agenda, they're trying to change the topic. And sometimes with global leaders, in America, you'll sometimes see that people will say, where the Epstein files, boom, something happens. Where the Epstein files, another thing happens. Because they're trying to take away the conversation from the Epstein files, because there's no explanation that's comfortable for the Epstein files. Now, the Mkwanazi files are more explosive for South Africa than the Epstein files are for America. So then I'm like, SIU, Babita was killed 2021, 2022, right? It's been a while. You could have done this in January, February, March, April, May, June. You could have done this last year. You've been sitting on this stuff. I was trying to look for these SIU reports and they were nowhere to be found. The website sends you to other places. The reports are not there. They'll just say this was sent to the office of the president. You can't. Nothing is put in the open for the public to be able to peruse clearly and cogently these reports that were then represented yesterday. And then a few weeks ago, they're telling us, no, the assets have been seized, etc., etc. The other question I have is, how do we know this guy hasn't taken money offshore? We don't even know where the guy is. He's not done an interview. Is he even in South Africa? At this point, is he even alive? can you confirm that this guy is alive? Who can confirm? No one can confirm, right? So point I'm making is, yesterday just felt weird because of that. I'm like, I see it, but big things are happening here. Why now? But anyway, that's just me. That's how I view it. I was like, let's not lose focus. So anyway, you want to talk about this Malema thing?
No, I mean, look, we still haven't got a judgment. Like, for me, for now, I'm going to put what the outcome of this judgment is on one side. And the EFF is beefing with me because I brought Floyd on last year and they're boycotting the platform. But I'm going to put that to one side.
No, they'll come.
I hope so. But this is just bizarre to me. Like, why is this judgment being read over 2 days? It's almost some kind of humiliation ritual. And again, I say this, I don't carry a can for Julius, who doesn't like me very much right now. But I'm a bit confused as to why we couldn't just get a summary and a judgment, and why this thing is being dragged out for so long.
And we can read judgments, right? And to be quite honest, I'm also confused by this. Yesterday I was shooting, right? And as I was shooting, I want to make a comment about the Malema thing. I'm like, on Monday, 4 things were happening.
Exactly.
One of them is Julius Malema was receiving a judgment. Then in my head I was thinking, what was the outcome of that judgment? Like, I'm like, what? There's still no judgment.
Bro.
I was like, what is going on?
But then it was like,
I've never seen this.
We'll come back tomorrow. I was like, this is a judgment. It's not the case.
I've never seen this.
Like, no, I'm shocked. And again, I have my own views about. Let's see what the judgment says, because I think. Let's talk about it when the judgment comes out. But just the process.
For me, I'm now feeling this is part of the distraction approach, because remember when we were talking about the SAU and now this, I'm like, what is happening in South Africa that you would want to take our attention away from? What is the one thing that is fascinating and captivating the whole country? Because even with the live streams, when you go check the numbers at the end of the day, hundreds and thousands of people are watching this throughout the day at work and all of that. And some people are watching it when they come back from work, even with the Meiwa stuff. And because some of this links to the Meiwa stuff, you would see that there's a large appetite. So the thing that is happening is that General Dumisani Khumalo is on the podium presenting hard evidence, metadata, proof of payments, video recordings. There's no contravention of this quality of evidence in terms of skepticism, criticism, anything, right? So it feels to me almost like there are various attempts to shift attention away, which is why I was talking about the SIU thing, to say, yes, valid, important, but we're being told about the big 5. People have been shot. Even the Babita, who is now being vindicated in part, because it's not a full vindication. There's no criminal accountability for any of these people. Babita is being vindicated in part by this SIU discovery. And ministers are condemning people like Hangwani Maumela.
Which I also find hilarious.
It's true. Because I think a lot of people know this dude within the ANC. People within Gauteng Department of Health. These are not new scandals.
And this thing of ANC people getting up and criticizing the ANC must actually, like, we figured this out now. Just stop doing it. Like, you're all part of the same party.
They're going to do a roll call now in the Gauteng Department. Tell everybody, stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop approving these.
Yeah, like,
just stop it.
You're all part of this.
We're trying to win an election next year. Come on, guys. You want Helen to be mayor. If Helen is mayor, all of you, just 6 months. Just, hey. So look, Gauteng Department of Health, many scandals. You remember Royal Baka? That was one of the big scandals, and many people were implicated in that. I think people know each other in this hoshkari behavior. So I didn't think it was a case of strangers announcing their findings on other strangers. It was, I think, people who are familiar with each other. I'm not saying the minister would have known, or maybe even Banyaza Lesufi would have known, but I don't think that this is an issue of strangers. But now the timing. Then now you've got this Malema thing. Part of me, and I this is not a commission of inquiry, so we can speculate. I'm like, is this not an attempt to just distract us from the very, very volatile information that we're being given at the Madlanga Commission? I mean, I can't, for the life of me, under stress what's happening. See, so when we started this episode, we're talking about a former police minister being found dead in France. That's something that's happened. We're hearing that another police minister on special leave, semi-suspended, whatever you want to call it, was in cahoots in some shape or form with a man who's been denied bail and is waiting for a trial date for attempted murder, who has been implicated in being a paymaster in various hits, who we know got a tender from the South African Police Service, not the shoe-shining service. He didn't get a tender from Productivity SA, which is a parastatal that exists for some reason. Productivity SA, it exists. But he didn't get a tender from there. This is the level of ukudelela. I don't have any other word for it. That Katiso Molefe had. Not Katiso, this one, Matlala Wetsamanyala. This guy was so disrespectful of the police service. He was like, give me that tender there for 360 million. That one. Health services. Have you ever given a panado to your girlfriend? No. Give me that one though. That tender. Police. Me, Matlala. I'm going to keep you guys healthy. What? Sure. Just think about the seriousness of that. You know, sometimes as things are unfolding, they can feel normal. And because they're being discussed in very formal spaces, you know, this commission, it's got these judges, there's commissioners, and you've got these lawyers, and everyone is talking about it. No, commissioner, this thing, and the reality of what we're talking about. True.
And you learn something that day, and now it becomes normal tomorrow. But like, every revelation should shock us.
This stuff is beyond shocking.
It is.
And they are real people. You know, I'll tell a short personal story. I have an uncle who went to Helen Joseph. He died there. Got sick. He died there a few years ago. And we couldn't even see a doctor when we would go and visit and try to get some information. What's happening with the guy, whatever. Couldn't see anybody. He died in Helen Joseph. And there are many people who can tell you horror stories about lack of delivery. That guy that they were talking about for the Tembisa Hospital, who was tweeting at the police, the health minister at the time, Digital Vibes, what's his name? Zweli Mkhize. He was like, Zweli Mkhize, I'm tweeting at you. What must happen if I'm not receiving attention? I think for 48 hours he didn't get food or something like that, and then he died. But now if you actually were to talk through people and find out how many medical malpractice cases have been awarded to people, and it's in the billions.
And not awarded.
Just and not awarded died. Because some people don't even go through the process of trying to fight for accountability and justice. And this is the extent of what we're talking about. This is the extent of what we're talking about. This guy, Matlala, is taking money that could have saved lives in those hospitals. So many people have gone to hospitals where those conditions have been atrocious. I once went to one hospital, I think it's called Oratile Hospital or something Tambo Hospital. I can't remember the name. Please check if there's a hospital like that. My friends at Wits at the time, they were coming from some place, one of these casino type of places. They had been celebrating a birthday, a church group. They were driving back. The taxi driver was speeding. And then they were telling him, slow down, slow down, slow down. He then, I think, crashed and overturned the car, ran away. And some of them who had medical aid were taken to the fancy hospitals. The other ones were not taken. So one of them ended up at that hospital, Tambo Memorial Hospital. I had to visit my friend there. And I would go every day during the holidays to visit at December holidays because most people had gone and I was around. And the conditions of that hospital, I was really shocked. The ward was fine where she was. And they were doing the best they could. The nurses, the doctors, whatever. The rest of the place was falling apart. The first time I tried to go to the bathroom, I was just like shocked. They were not working. It was dirty. It was smelling. That's money that was stolen. So that people can drive Lamborghinis. Everything that the minister was saying was correct. And the revelations about the extent of that corruption are coming out today, have been coming out. This is now day 9 for the last 9 days of testimony. That to me is the biggest story. And the fact that there's this extensive cartel that is not only stealing from hospitals, it is putting people in hospitals. Because these drugs are putting people in hospital. These guys are double dealing, man. They give you drugs and then they take away the institutions that can help you from the addictions and then they're shooting people on the streets. So now you either get shot by these dealers, If you get sick, these dealers stole the bedding. They stole the money for the medication. And then now you can't even get there sometimes because they stole the money from the parastatals, which are supposed to help you even get there. Right? And they're killing the taxi drivers who are supposed to even take you there. So think about what's happening in Cape Flats, Westbury, Aldos, places like that. These things are interconnected. And we are now hearing a slice, I think it is a slice, the tip of the iceberg, of all of this, about fixers in the police, some of them with nicknames like Killer. You know, I didn't know Sibia's nickname is Killer within the police. A police officer told me that that's his nickname. So even if he goes to jail, he'll be in charge in jail. Think about that. Think about what we heard about the Lusikisiki. Orders are being made in jail by people with that level of influence. This stuff is being revealed in this commission. But if we forget that in as much as there are moments of brevity, in as much as there are, funny moments, the content of these revelations is graphic and it's very somber. We can't take focus away from this. I don't understand why, even now, the media, we're talking about, and people are like, we're the media, we should, I think they still have a role to play. Some people are not going to watch YouTube. I feel like there's a lot of gaps they need to be closing about all of this. These syndicates, these implicated groups, if it was the Zuma years, we would have gotten every file. But this stuff, man, I can't stress it too much. We are being told that the former Minister of Police was in the penthouse of a thug like this Vusimuzi Matlala. This is not normal.
Make it make sense. Bro, I think let's leave it there for today. There's a lot more we need to discuss. In our respective shows, we'll analyze these, so people should look out for it. There's the Gayton McKenzie thing, the Julius Malema judgment, which one day will come out. Maybe it'll come out after the commission.
But can I make a quick comment about this Gayton thing? Maybe we should I don't think we should leave it. And as much as I think it's a little bit of a sideshow, Gayton, unprovoked, ons Faizan said, look, I should be called. He was whistling, all of that. I can't whistle, guys. I'm not African that much. I should have spent 2 more weeks in the rural areas. I would have been able to. But those 2 weeks are missing. He was whistling, right? Talking about like, they must call me, the things I know, blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, he's like, no, I won't be told by Julius. What happened to the change in energy? I don't know. Did you pick that up?
No.
Go, Baba. You said you volunteered the information. Now you don't want to go no more. But they want you there. I mean, go.
Hey.
Don't you think you should go? You don't want to. You're still going to come to the show. You're still this is a great platform.
No, it's not
I'm just saying,
that.
but like he volunteered.
No, I
had the
agree.
energy.
I agree. Look, we've done our wish lists for these commissions, and I agree. Like, I think as many people should go as possible.
Julius didn't say he should go. He said he should go.
Absolutely. If Julius has to go, I think he should go too.
Yeah.
Gayton should go. Cyril Ramahposa should go. Paul Mashatile should go. Ministers of police should go. One other thing, I'm going to flag for future analysis as well. We can't lose sight of this, because we're hearing about IPID now, right? And then there was the IPID report into Palapala, which was suppressed.
And this is what people are saying Senzo Mkhunu has on President Ramahposa, that I helped you, and
exactly. And Minister Kachalia now came out and said that thing is staying secret because it will create a serious division between operational units in the police.
I think now we must peel all the bandages.
Excuse me, and he doesn't explain how. In a response to, I think, Action SA, who sent him a question, just like, it's going to create chaos internally. How? Why?
Why is it going to?
So there's a secret report on Palapala that the old minister and the new minister have now said is remaining sealed.
Where are the foundations these days? Foundations, don't you want to know what happened to the couch?
NGOs.
Joshua Doe Banking, what happened to that couch?
Accountability NGOs.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know anymore. Because I think this is quite, you're right. It's an interesting time. We'll see what happens.
It is. But bro, look, we'll do this often,
Yeah.
so we can't. We'll have to spend. We'll take longer than the Malema judgment if we go on the whole
We will,
time.
and I think we
But,
covered a lot today.
Exactly. But bro, thank you for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to Mighty Jamie TV, The Dissection. Subscribe to SMWX. Keep supporting independent media and analysis. And we will see you on the next one. Who knows what could be revealed going forward? But we've got you covered.
Yeah.
You know this. Aye.